Hi there, YouTube. Did you miss me? Sorry I've been away for a while, but I've been on vacation and it was awesome. Today's Kingdom Song is another familiar, triggering tune from my childhood. And yours, if you were unlucky as me. This song is another rousing march that encourages Jehovah's Witnesses to preach with an unhealthy dose of us against them, the world is against us rhetoric thrown in for good measure. In 1966, this was song number 57. In 1984, it was song number 107. And it was deleted in 2009. It's called Let Us Sing Jehovah's Praise with Courage. Like anybody's trying to stop you? The only change from 1966 to 1984 was that they got rid of all the exclamation points. I guess their excitement kind of died down a bit by the time the songbook went from pink to brown. Come on, Watchtower. Remember your sense of urgency. Armageddon's right around the corner, for Christ's sakes. Uh-oh. I'm going to get reproved for saying that. Why do we need courage to sing? Do we have stage fright? I mean, is Simon Cowell listening or something? Look, clearly, no one at the Kingdom Hall is worried about carrying a tune or staying on tempo, so it's definitely not that. Well, see, we immediately start talking about strength and foes and enemies, so I'm guessing that this is more of the same Jehovah's Witness narrative about how much persecution and opposition they expect to get for singing said praises. And this is really a very common theme with Jehovah's Witnesses. In case you've somehow missed it, they need persecution to function. If there's no persecution happening, well, you can count on them to manufacture some in one way or another. In the 1930s, for example, they used some in-your-face, pretty offensive preaching tactics, getting themselves arrested in some cities and in a few cases tarred and feathered and rode out of town on a rail. That's how my grandmother used to tell it. All of this was, of course, with the intent of gaining notoriety. If you want to learn more about this, you could start with a book called 30 Years a Watchtower Slave. It's a fascinating read and touches on their intentional use of psychology and brainwashing and how they tested some of their methods overseas before rolling them out in the U.S. Anyway, back to the point. Jehovah's Witnesses actually thrive on what I like to call persecution porn. They love the idea that they're being oppressed for their faith, even when they're not, to the point where any disagreement is immediately interpreted as opposition, apostasy, and persecution, and then they go into terror shutdown mode. They need a foe to face, but not really face. I mean, that would be too real. They need to face a foe that they don't actually have to fight or face or really even see. Who's the foe? Never let the enemy dismay us. Fear them not, but forward let us go. Who is this enemy? The mighty foe. Well, they'll give you different answers to this question. Satan the devil and his demons, which kind of sounds like a rockabilly band, if you ask me. Or apostates and opposers and false religions, read any other church. And the world at large, I don't know. So basically, everything and everybody. The Watchtower brainwashes Jehovah's Witnesses to believe that anyone who disagrees with Watchtower teachings for any reason are in league with the devil, demonized, mentally diseased, evil criminals who are utterly untrustworthy and unworthy of life. And they can immediately shove their kids and their friends and their spouses in that box and slam the lid the minute they hear a single word of logic or reason about the Watchtower Society. So, they're fighting everything and everybody in the strength of a silent, invisible deity who supposedly, theoretically, allegedly speaks through a publishing company with a number of serious PR problems. This does not sound like a great plan to me. And how do they avoid letting the enemy dismay them? Well, they're supposedly not scared of any physical threat because apparently God's going to take care of that for them. So what is there to be dismayed over? What's that? All the tales of unfair disfellowshippings and suicides by people who've been shunned by their family and friends for something as trivial as smoking a cigarette or making out with their boyfriend? All the children who've been molested and blamed for it, or all the perpetrators, the child molesters and wife beaters who've just been allowed to get by with it? Well, if they'd listened to people who have actually lived these realities, they'd be very dismayed indeed. The majority of Jehovah's Witnesses actually are good people who would be genuinely horrified by all of this, but they don't know. They don't know it. Now, how the hell could they not know what is going on in their own religion? Guys, it's because they're brainwashed not to read anything about the Watchtower not written by the Watchtower. And they do not listen to anyone who leaves and complains about the way that they were treated. Right? So I guess you could say that not letting the enemy dismay us is the same thing as not listening to any bad news whatsoever. I mean, if you don't know, then you can't care, can you? What are they afraid of again?
The good news of salvation.
Yay! We're being saved from fun holidays and relaxing weekends. Praise Jah!
Help men see the need of dedication.
Wait, whose dedication and why should we be interested in his or her needs? What does dedication need exactly? Oh, I think this is actually another grammatical error. I think they meant to say the need for dedication. Okay, and they want to help men see the need to get baptized as Jehovah's Witnesses and cede control of themselves and their households to the elders and the Watchtower Society. Got it. And of course it's men, because we all know that the male head of the household can whip the little woman and children into line. Can't they?
Let us sing Jehovah's praise with courage. Magnify his great and holy name.
Okay, y'all. Something is magnified usually when it is super small. You might use a microscope to magnify something on the cellular level so that you can see it. You might use a magnifying glass to see tiny print or to look at the details in something that's too small to see with the naked eye. So I ask you, why does the name of the great and holy almighty creator of the universe need to be magnified? I mean, he can't be too great and holy if he's so tiny that he requires constant magnification. I'm just saying.
Let us sing Jehovah's praise with courage.
Courage. Not happiness or joy or sincerity or anything like that. No, you need courage to praise Jehovah. I mean, he's pretty unpredictable, so I imagine there might be some danger involved.
And give warning loud for all to hear.
I wish it was a real warning, though, and not all this Armageddon bullshit. You know, an actual public service announcement like, if you decide to become a Jehovah's Witness, you will be alienated from your friends and family on the outside, and you'll be brainwashed, and then if you screw up, you'll be shunned until you agree to be 100% subservient and obedient again. Also, your children might get molested, but we won't report it to the authorities or actually do anything about it, and they'll get bullied relentlessly too. Oh, and if you happen to get in a catastrophic accident, we'll make sure you don't get a blood transfusion. We'll also encourage you to remember us in your will and forget your non-Jehovah's Witness family. Yeah, broadcast that warning loud for all to hear, why don't ya?
For our King will soon destroy the wicked. False religion's end is very near.
I just want them to define the word wicked here. Because we all know what they mean. They mean us. They mean all of us watching this video. All of us who aren't at the Kingdom Hall or out in service right now. I mean, 99.9% of the global population. Carson, yeah, no, I'm not really the wicked. I know it's not true. It's okay. Wicked, and about to be destroyed by some pissed off monarch. As for false religion, that would include the Jehovah's Witnesses, so don't gloat too hard, witnesses. Even if this was true, and it isn't, your track record ain't looking so hot.
Let us sing Jehovah's praise with
let's not.
As we teach the lowly and the true.
Can someone please tell me why they are obsessed with the meek and lowly? Seriously, why are the lowly considered prime Jehovah's Witness targets? Well, I'll tell you why. It's because they're impressionable, they're vulnerable, and they're likely to listen. They aren't any more true or false than anyone else on the planet. There are meek and lowly people who are also deceitful and unethical. You aren't automatically virtuous just because you're shy.
Showing them their privilege to serve God, helping them His will on earth to do.
So, serving God is a privilege. You sure about that? Oh, I remember all the privileges we got. Cleaning toilets mostly, and sometimes cooking, and lots of door-to-door salesmanship. Ugh. God, that was miserable. But I just think that helping someone to do God's will is a questionable concept. I mean, assuming that God is real, and He wants something done, why would you have to pass the buck and help someone else to do it? Why wouldn't you just do it yourself? Or better yet, why doesn't God just do it Himself since He's almighty and all that crap? I mean, if I wanted some spaghetti cooked, I'm not going to look at my 5-year-old and say, you need to help your 7-year-old brother make some spaghetti for me. Because that is asking for a disaster. I think that the most capable individual and the one who actually wants something done should be the one to do it. I'm just saying. But maybe the point here is that God's will is supposed to be for all these poor people to obey Watchtower. Because it's not really about preaching or saving people. It's about obedience. So the helping that they're doing is pushing the brainwashing, assimilating another individual into the Borg. Awesome.
A mountain and they sing about administration. Nothing but a shady corporation. It's a cult. It's a cult.
No, seriously, it's a cult.